Hi and welcome, it's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. Well, we are over the North Atlantic Ridge and we have also crossed in the last week or so the 40-degree mark, which is a theoretical mark. Basically we theorized on the back of some experiments that we've done that we should be entering those weak field lines now, where the acceleration of the magnetic North Pole could take place at any point now. Just to mention those scientists that was doing the lava flow core samples, they noted that it was around the 45-degree mark where the pole had migrated through the strong field lines, then entered the weak field lines, and it migrated much faster. You know, if you're new to this channel, we're going through, and it might come as a surprise to you, we are going through a geomagnetic reversal, and that simply means is that the north and south poles are going to be reversing in the not too distant future, and this brings up a few problems. To mention one, we're going to get more cosmic radiation inbound in our upper atmosphere, and this leads to cloud seeding, which leads to water condensing on these seed particles that are in the upper atmosphere as a result of cosmic rays and cosmic ray collisions. And then we have altered jet stream behavior, and a little bit later on in the video we're going to show you a look around the world at today's jet stream, so that you can see exactly what it is we're talking about. You know, the other implications of more cosmic rays is, as we've discussed over the last few months now, not only do they cause cancer, but they also cause now cardiac arrhythmia, which means all age groups, not just targeting older people with heart diseases or heart conditions, but all age groups, healthy, fit or not, could be at any particular time subject to heart failure or cardiac arrhythmias as a result of being subjected to cosmic rays. And of course we are 25% more likely to get cancer now if we go out in the sun, especially at those most vulnerable times of the day where the sun is at its meridian and its strongest, because of the weakening of the magnetosphere, which is also a component of the magneto inside our Earth that generates the magnetosphere and the dipoles, or the magnetic north and south poles. So I'm going to show you now in the next clip what's going on with our jet streams, because it is that, of course, which is responsible for the climatic events that we're experiencing on our planet. And that climatic change that we have noticed more so frequently over the last 15 odd years is going to result in the food basket of the world, the good agricultural land going offline. And we're going to start seeing, not just because of energy prices have increased, food prices increasing, we're also going to see food prices increase because, like any commodity that is in short supply or less demand, or high demand, the cost of that commodity, food in this case, is going to increase in value. And that's something that is directly going to affect you if you are lucky enough to avoid the consequences of the added 25% inbound radiation, not just from the solar winds or the sun's rays, but also that is coming through our solar system due to a weakened heliosphere as a result of the sun going through a grand solar minimum. So the grand solar minimum is a compile of the last 3 solar cycles, each spanning 11 years, so we're talking over 33 years minimum of low solar output, and that has weakened the heliosphere that protects our solar system. So we have cosmic rays coming in through the heliosphere more than we usually have, and our primary protective field is weakening because of the geomagnetic reversal taking place, most of which is going completely unreported by both mainstream media and mainstream organisations that would be responsible normally for notifying the public of such events. I'm talking the European Space Agency, NASA, NOAA, etc. across the range. So we are sitting at the edge of our chairs now because we've just passed the threshold of 40 degrees. And a few days ago, we done a positioning of the latest magnetic pole position. And as you can see there, on the 2nd of this month, we found that the poles had slowed down once again for the second time this year. It happened back on the 17th of the 2nd this year, and it has happened again just a few days ago. When that happened back on February this year, on the 17th, after that point it went into reverse and then went forward. But when it started to gain its forward momentum, tracking easterly towards central Russia, it began to pick up just slightly a little extra speed, so covering more distance in a shorter space of time. At the moment, we're sitting on the edge of our chairs because we've passed now the 40 degree mark and the pole has once again stopped. Now, in the experiment, it shows that a slight hesitation just before it reaches or just after 40 degrees. So, are we now gearing up for the big finale? That's why we're on the edge of the chairs here at the observatory, and I'm sure most of the regular followers are likewise wondering what we could experience next as a result of the poles for the second time this year, and for the second time in 120 years during this magnetic reversal taking place back in the early 1900s. It is doing it once again. That's where we are. Before I run the North School video so we can have a look at those jet streams, I just want to say a big thanks to just a few people. I could actually count this time on one hand. It's getting much worse. We have more viewers than we ever have done. We have more subscribers than we ever have done. But at the moment, I guess people just aren't taking the topic serious enough until it comes home to them and directly affects them. We know that it has already directly affected tens of thousands of people, and it is only sheer luck that it hasn't probably affected yourselves right now. But we know there are other arenas where you are being affected. The cost of living is going up. It's not just because of energy has put those prices up. It's because arable land is going offline as a result of the magnetic pole reversal, and as a result of us returning back into a glacial period. Yes, all these things can be fact checked. They're real. They really are happening, guys. If you're sitting there thinking to yourselves, well, we've not heard nothing on mainstream media about this, you won't. This is really happening, and these anomalies that are taking place, the grand solar minimum, the weakened magnetosphere due to the pole reversal, and what's the other anomaly? The returning back into a glacial period. All these things are happening right now as you are listening to me talk about them. So they're very real. What we're trying to do is inform as many people as we can, and we're facing a battle at the moment because there are those dark forces, and I don't mean Darth Vader's forces. I'm on about there are legitimate dark forces out there that want to stop this information getting out, because I guess it would not help the continuity of any global government right now if the masses were completely aware of it. But so in that matter, you're very lucky that you have access to not only the information on these topics, but you have the information coming from ourselves, an observatory which is tracking these things as they happen, and we're also calling out the truth on global warming, which is being blamed on CO2, which is a hoax, and it is just orchestrated literally by a group of individuals who, to say the least, are behaving no different to an organised crime syndicate group. And as a result, we are paying heavily for it, and we are going to pay much dearly for it a bit further on down the line, because there is no preparations being done for these things. And people say, well, what can you possibly do about such large things that are taking place? Well, to do nothing is really not the answer at this point. There are things that could be done, but for some reason, well, I guess we know the reasons. It's just not lucrative for them at this time, when it is much more lucrative to, conjure up a load of lies, blame CO2 for global climate change, and keep showing us, images of islands sinking in the Indian Ocean and other places around the world. So let's run the Null School video so you can get an idea just as to how this is affecting just one critical part of our planetary mechanics at the moment, and in that we're talking about the jet streams. So let's go over and have a look at those. So just a brief heads up, the audio sometimes is out of sync with the video. You might get all the video in one go, and then they're talking about various aspects at a different point in time. But if you just if you want, after the video, go back to that particular point, obviously you'll get what we're talking about. You can do that in your own time. What we're looking at is over the northern hemisphere, directly down on the Arctic Circle, and you can see the conditions of the jet stream. Now we are at just going beyond maximum tilt away from the sun. It doesn't mean that the Earth tilts left and right as we go around the sun. It's just, as it is positioned in the orbit around the sun at any particular point of the year. So, obviously in the summer, the northern hemisphere, because of the Earth's tilt, will be closer to the sun, and it will receive more sunlight for longer hours. And then when it goes 180 degrees to the other side of the sun, halfway through the year, we will be further away because of the same angle of tilt. So at the moment we're looking at the jet streams in the summer months, and you can see that there is no clear polar jet stream and no clear subtropical jet stream, and you can also see interchanges with these. If I bring up the equatorial region, you'll start to see a little bit more clearly what I'm talking about, especially if I just take us around various parts of the Earth. So going easterly first, you can see there are some good examples of polar jet streams coming down into the tropical regions, and as a result, it is picking up that colder air which is normally associated around the Arctic Circle and keeping those Arctic temperatures normal. But obviously we have malfunction jet streams, and as a result of that we get these strange and more common now weather patterns, which is changing cropping seasons for farmers globally. It is without a doubt, that there is no question of a doubt that we are losing cropland globally, and like I say, this is going to be hitting your pocket if it hasn't already, but much more so just solely related to the fact that the levels of crops are going to reduce. Certain crops are not going to be able to be produced in certain areas where they are customly grown regularly, and it will, like I say, begin to affect us all. What we're looking at here, and again, I think I'll stop the video so we can just pay attention to this, and we'll restart it, because what we're looking at, the equatorial region area, is subtropical interchange. So this is a new anomaly. A couple of years ago wasn't seen very commonly. Now, pretty much every day we can get some sort of interaction between the subtropical regions, both over the northern and southern hemispheres. We're also getting, over the northern hemisphere, polar jet streams mixing with the tropical jet streams, and same over the southern hemisphere. And this just gives you a good example. I'm just going to flick it over to the South Pole for us, as soon as I can get some control over the there we go. So let's just turn it over to the Antarctic region. Obviously this region of our planet is in the winter months, and we can see what is now classed as superjet streams in the subtropical region, measuring a width of probably 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers in width. Again, not a common sight, but you can see that jet stream feeds straight into the polar jet streams. So the subtropical is feeding into the polar jet streams and is causing its own problems as a result of that. And this is largely due to the extra inbound cosmic rays. Certainly nothing to do with CO2. CO2 is a trace gas, which means there's not a lot of it in our upper atmosphere. To be just to give you an idea, it's 0.04%, so not even 0.5% of our atmosphere consists of that trace gas, CO2. So hopefully it gives you a better understanding of some of the anomalies that we are actually dealing with. Again, I can't reiterate any more than what I do, is that this is absolutely real and is happening. You would almost be in disbelief if someone, as I have found us to be the case anyhow, when you tell people about this, they go, well, not heard much about this on the news. How serious is it? And they do genuinely joke about this. They think that, is this the end of the world then, Gene, as a result of this? Well, it's not the end of the world, but it is certainly going to change the way we go about our daily lives. And the more prolonged these anomalies last, and one of them, we already know the time scale that lasts. We're talking about the returning back to a glacial period. We're well over 2,000 years into that return, and as a result we've already noted that over the last 10 years, yes, something else you're not going to believe, Arctic ice has already rebounded by an area size of 3 million square kilometres. This region would cover all of Europe, England, Ireland, and much more. So, we really are setting ourselves up now with these anomalies that are taking place for worse times ahead to come. There is no denying it. And, you have the opportunity to do something about it. You can make some simple provisions that you and your loved ones can benefit from if you haven't already. And there are plenty of good websites out there that show you, just some simple, cheap bug out bags and how to put them together. And of course, if you haven't already, maybe thinking about a small food storage that can last you and your direct loved ones at least 2-3 months would not be a bad thing at all, because it is the cheapest life insurance or protection policy you can have for your families right now. It is something that you purchase once and you keep it for years and years, maybe adding to it slowly, making it more better, more efficient for you. But it's like unlike any other insurance policy where you keep repeating every year that same protection. If you think your governments around the world and those politicians have backup plans to save you and your loved ones, well, I encourage you just to do research on national and international emergencies, and just how quickly governments have responded to those people in need at those times. And then I think you're going to understand why we suggest you have a bug out bag and a small food supply, because it's those very few things that you'll need in order to stay alive during those times. Guys, we do a lot of work on this website, and for a lot of people it's more common for them to tip a waiter than it is for someone that has invested 10 years of their life making sure that people are kept informed. We don't just talk about these events, we have a lot of equipment which we use at the observatory to monitor these events. But the big point here is that when we see 4,000, 5,000, sometimes 10,000 people view a video in 24 hours, and yet they know that YouTube has barred us from adding adverts to our videos so that we can pick up a little bit of revenue there, you would think that those people would chip in and help, not just us at the observatory, but those that watch these videos, those 20,000 people every week that come to the website regularly for an updated particular anomaly that they're interested in. It's there dedicated for them. You would think that they would chip in a few bucks, but sadly, like yesterday, we can count those people on one hand, and it would be awesome to see at least a change in this, because it would give me some encouragement that what we're doing is worthwhile and appreciated first of all, but more importantly helps secure the information flowing for yourselves and others that might join us in the not too distant future. And we need that, because right now 98% of the 8 billion people on this world are oblivious to what I've just explained to you in this video. Can you believe that? There's a link down there if you want to help, and the only other thing for me to say is you take care of your loved ones. So what I usually do. Bye for now.